Welcome back. We are headed down an hour north of Paducah, Kentucky, and we're going to do the wedding install takedown. Shouldn't take us long because, as we know, when you're installing something, it takes a lot longer than when you're taking something down. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then from there, we're going to head back and we are going to plant up some of the cutest little hydrangeas that you've ever laid your eyes on before. So I'm excited about that. Then from there, we're going to see what all we get to bring back, because I am going to be able to take some of the plants, and that's always a bonus, because you know that anytime you get a free plant, it's a bonus. Even more important is a lot of the plants that I'm going to be bringing back was actually on my to buy list, so I get to save money on the back end, and super excited about that. So we'll be able to see what all we're bringing back. First thing we're going to do is we're going to stop off and we're going to get some coffee, because from the day before the wedding, so which was Friday, Saturday was the wedding, I was up for 33 hours. 33 hours in order to make sure I had all the decoration done, the flowers were on point, and sometimes I just don't know how I get it all done, because 33 hours was a lot. And then I had to drive back. Guys, it is the biggest snake. Do y'all see it? Anywho, but what we're going to do is we're going to stop off. We're going to get coffee first. I totally lost my train of thought when I seen that snake. I was like, absolutely not. You don't have any pistachio, do you?
Fortunately, no. I am done with the pistachio for the season.
How dreadful. So I'm
sorry.
No worries. I'll take a caramel frappuccino.
What size on that?
A venti.
A venti, okay.
And I needed an almond milk, no whipped cream, and no caramel drizzle.
Okay.
And then
you said a medium?
A venti.
A venti, I'm sorry.
And then I'll also need a dome lid.
Okay.
All right.
And did you say no caramel drizzle or extra?
No caramel drizzle at all.
Drizzle. Okay, heard that. Okay, awesome. And
right.
Dome lid. Anything else?
Nope. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. It is going to be $11.60.
Okay. Thank you. Wait, one more at the bottom. Hold on. Wait, you hold this at the top. Okay. So normally I start from the bottom and I just snip. Bam. Quick. So, here we go. Snip. Here we go. Snip. Oh, it don't want to snip. Okay. And then snip. Now, I wish we was good girlfriends, because I'd be out here, girl, can I come out there and get some moss? We have all of these ferns, but then we also have gardenias that I do want to get out of here. I've set all of the root balls inside of this container here. We'll just put some water in there, actually overwater it, because I want to make sure while I'm prepping the area the root balls do not dry out. Oh Lord, the water hose is disconnected. So I'll just set this down on the inside of there with the sole intent to fill up this container. I have these 2 glass containers here. We're going to go ahead and fill these up with some water. Now let's go get the hydrangeas. We're going to grab these 2 hydrangeas. We have a purple. I don't know if the true color is really shining through right now. And then we also have a pink as well. So we're going to go and pre-hydrate these. We're going to just take our hydrangeas and set them inside of our vessel here. Here's our other one. And what we're going to do, we are going to let our hydrangeas sit up inside of the water until they take up as much water as they need to be hydrated. Now, oftentimes I will give them a water bath, especially when they're this small and I'm using them in a planter. I'll give them about maybe a 15 to 30 minute water bath. That way they can take up as much water as they need, so I don't run into problems with trying to keep my hydrangea hydrated, especially when the root ball is this small. Ooh, oh wow. You will never believe what is inside of this yard waste container. Come on, get in close, and as you get in close, hit that subscribe button, hit like. I mean, how did you get in there, my dear? Now, in the bottom of this trash can, there's literally a whole entire toad. Do y'all see it? Y'all see that frog? Toad, frog, whichever one. Watch. Can you see it? So I'm about to have to put the pups in the house so it can get out of this trash can, because this is the compost or yard waste container. So we take the container and all of the components go to the can, but we don't want the frog to go, or toad, whichever one it is. Can y'all see it? Oh, poor thing, it's scared too. Yeah, it's scared as all get out. Come on. Pegasus. Penelope. Come on. Let's go. Let's get in the house. Come on out. Don't go back up into the thing. Now I can't see it at all. Do y'all see it? Come on, bud. I mean, this thing is not moving. Child, we can see you. Woo! There it is right there, y'all. Y'all see it? Yeah, that's a toad. Baby, you was almost compost, honey. Go on about your way and eat you some bugs out the garden. All right, so I have my containers that we're going to be using. Now I have these large faux plastic terracotta pots, and I absolutely love them because the plants that we're going to be using, which are beautiful ferns, your ferns are very root overpowering. It doesn't matter how large the container is. The larger the container, depending on what size of fern you use, by the end of the season, your ferns are almost going to be almost pot bound in that pot. So we're going to plant up some large, huge fern planters to make instant impact. So we have 3 of these containers here, and oh, I wish I had 6. I actually got these containers from Sherwood Forest many moons ago, and I was like, oh, because I was shocked because nobody had bought them. A lot of my containers have come from Sherwood Forest. When you go into Sherwood Forest, when you go into like the cashier where you check out, if you go back there on that back wall, check, because it's always some hidden gems. And I really shouldn't even be telling you this. Then there is a room. So let's say this is the front door. You're all the way in the back now. You walk up. Right there to the right, there's going to be a door. Go out, go on to the right, and in that room right there, there is a ton of containers. So every time I go in there, I gloss through. But that's where I found these containers. My window box, Sherwood Forest, and a lot of nurseries do not carry window boxes. So the crazy part about it, I knew that window box was for me because I was measuring and I had been shopping online. And the one that I was looking at getting was actually at Sherwood Forest. So if you're in the St. Louis region, Sherwood Forest for sure is one of those places where you stop in because I have found some gorgeous containers there. But we're going to come in, we're going to plant up these large, huge containers. Now, ferns, depending on where you snag your ferns from, this look will be very easy to recreate. So, I've already put in a starter fertilizer, granulated, and these ferns look good on the bottom here. They're not really root bound like you typically would see with your ferns. The roots look wonderful. So you don't necessarily have to rough them up. You can if that's a practice that you do, but they're not root bound. Now, if you come across the fern, or if you come across a fern where the bottom of your root ball is severely bound, just take a knife and just hack off the bottom. That's all I would do. Or you could go in and rough it up. You can use the end of your trowel to help you rough it up. And what that does is it'll just make sure that you get good growth. If you're concerned about your pot breaking from the roots of the fern, from trying to get them out, no worries. Just go ahead, let the fern dry down all the way. The roots will compress, and then from there you can go ahead and get the fern out. But I love to use ferns every year in my garden. Right here on this side, we have 2 options. We can either go 2 side by side, or we can put 1 and see how it looks. So we'll start off with just using 1, and then we'll see how it looks. So it looks like 3 may be our lucky number because it looks good all the way around the pot here, and it's still giving us room to grow. So 3 is going to be our lucky number. So we're going to do 3 ferns in each container. Up against this fence line, this is where we're going to put our ferns at on this side right here. It's going to create a visual block for the fence here. Now, I do have some terracotta pots. We will move the terracotta pots out of the way. Now, keep in mind it has been raining, so you see just a lot of mist-shoveled dirt everywhere, or mud, shall I say. So we'll go ahead, we'll move these containers out of the place, and we will also lay down a barrier to go up underneath these containers here, because I have been battling with different type of invasive species in my yard. So for example, here is false strawberry right here, which, interesting to say, I did not have these false strawberries until I potted up a certain strawberry. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know. Anywho, so we are going to put a barrier down. That way we can block the weeds, because some weeds are very, very, very vigorous to where they will come up through the drain holes inside of your containers, and we definitely don't want that. And then also, here is a maple tree right here. So that's why it was so easy for me to walk away. Yep, here's a maple. If I can pull this out. And here's another maple right beside it from my maple tree. We are done with our last planter here. Now what we're going to do is, you can see where we have some frayed edges. This came by way of me having the ferns in the back of the pickup truck, and while I was driving on the highway, the tarp that I had on, it kept flapping up because it was getting air up underneath it. And so this is the result of that. That's fine, because you really can just come in, just prune out anything that does not look attractive to the eye, and they'll grow right in. So real quick, or you can technically, you can take them all up and you can shave them back. I wouldn't do that. I would just come in and just prune off what I don't need. Bye, Pegasus. So I'm not going to focus too much on this right now, but for instructional purposes, so anything that's frayed. And the same thing, if your ferns get scorched, you want to come in and you can do the same exact thing. It's starting to rain, so we're going to go ahead and grab one of these 6-packs here of the polka dot plants. I kind of want, I like the variation here of this one right here. we'll go ahead and grab out this one too. So we'll just take 2 of the 6-pack. It looks like our hydrangeas have soaked in the water. So we know that when we plant them up, they're going to be well hydrated. Here's our water level. You can see that now our hydrangeas are heavy in the pot. And although it did not look like they needed water, I let the hydrangeas take up as much of the water that their roots would allow. So now we know we're starting off with a fully hydrated hydrangea, and I am super excited about that. And we got the same results with both containers. Now, this container right here is a lot larger than this vessel right here. But you can see that although we had more water inside of this container than we had inside of this container right here, this hydrangea was still able to take up as much water as the roots needed. So now we know before we start planting, we are starting off with the best type of situation where we have a fully hydrated hydrangea. We know that the root ball is fully hydrated, the leaves, the flower. So we'll still be coming by and making sure we give water to our hydrangeas every single day, because when you're using a smaller vessel, you're going to dry out a lot quicker. So you want to be mindful of that. But we're still going to be able to get a beautiful look with this, and I'm super excited. I went ahead and took the liberty to go ahead and grab our watering can now. Here is our finished product. Now I do have it on the inside of this glass container here, this glass bowl, because I am watering it in. I want to make sure I completely saturate the roots here. Now, when you're doing a technique like this, going in and root pruning is going to be your best friend. That way you get all of your plants the opportunity to be able to fit inside of a small vessel like this. Now, I will also say this. If you start to see that you're unable to keep both of the plants happy, remember our myrtle is the star here. So we would just forfeit the undercarriage here. But I'm super excited. No need to water in my hydrangeas because we pre-soak those. Now, while this soaks in, we are going to go ahead and get it back on the counter where it belongs at. Just dry the bottom of it off. I absolutely love this. It's completely full and it just adds a pop of color over here to this area. And because this is so big, I may not actually be able to set all three of my plants up here together. And maybe we'll just do it like this, because it's pushing on my hydrangea head. Okay, there we go. I was able to fit all three of them here on the dish. But I love this. This is so beautiful. There we go. See, hydrangea heads get larger. I'll just go in and stake those. But for right now, they're perfectly fine because, as you know, the hydrangeas, they start off small and they'll continue to get larger and larger. So no big deal. I just go in and just add a stake to them. If we can get it out of the packaging. Okay, so first book, we have two books here. I have two books here, and the first one we'll talk about is Bob Flower Deuce, The Nowhere Garden. And I wanted to get this book. Actually, this is the second time that I've had both of these books, and I'm super excited because this book right here, there is gem after gem after gem in this book. Like, for example, here, and I can show you, because I do have some grapes that are grown in containers. And this is one of the best methods that I have found having a small garden is by growing grapes in containers. Now, I will say that by me having dogs, I have to make sure that I keep my grapes isolated from my dogs. By having them in pots, it gives me the opportunity to move the grapes from place to place. And I'll show you the grapes in just a minute. And also, I think I want to go and shop and add maybe 2 more grapevines this year. So, ooh, look at this, you guys. Love, love, love container gardening. Okay, so if I remember correctly, I want to say the grapes are, let's see, hold on. Okay, yep, we're starting to get to the grapes. Hold on, they're going to go through all the fruits, nuts, and the grape should be coming up soon. Okay, yep. Grapevines. And grapes in containers. And I'll show you mine in just a second. But it talks about growing grapes in containers. I mean, an absolute good read. So, next thing is the Vegetable, Herbs, and Fruit Encyclopedia. So one of the things about me, I love encyclopedias is based on plants and fruits and vegetables. So I have this as part of my gardening book arsenal, loaned it out, never got it back. And so I wanted to add these back to my collection. But it's a mention in grapes in here as well. But when I tell you, like, just turning all through these books have just really been just a great resource. And they talk about mint, and they talk about like what you can do. There's like a geranium drink in here as well. But I would recommend, if you're going to do the geranium drink, that you start your own geraniums from seed. Okay, hold on one second. I want to go to the grapes here. Because this was the book as well as the other book here. These two books alone really helped me perfect my grapes in containers. Hold on, let's go to the table of contents. Grapes, $4.65. Okay, let's look. Okay, talk about, again, growing grapes in containers, table grapes, and just reading this book is really what made me, as well as the other book, just look at growing grapes in a totally different way. So let's head out and I'll show you my grapes. Here is one of my grapes. I actually have 2 grapes. I do want to add some more grapes. Now, one of the things I like about grapes, especially when you grow them in containers, they're very versatile and they're really easy to contain. Now, when you think about grapevines, you think about this large, huge structure that grows and just gets humongous and needs a elegant structure to grow on. But as I was showing you in the book, you really can come in and you can pull a grape. You can actually espalier a grape. That is something that has been being done since the Victorian era, and I love these grapes. Now, one of the things that I do, I take my grapes, I let them grow up for the season, and then at the season, after I take off the grape harvest, I'll go ahead and I'll whack them back. Whatever stump I'm left with, that residual stump, that is what I leave, and then I leave them outside over the winter time, off scene, of course. And then from there, what I do is I bring it in, it gets the head start. I can do the necessary treatments that I need to do for my grapevine here. Now, my other one is not as far along as this one because I brought this one out first. Also, one of the things too to keep in mind is with the grapes, if you take a container, the smaller your container, you're going to be able to suppress that root ball. So therefore, your plants are not going to grow as large as they were intended to grow. So sort of like when you see me planting these different arrangements and things of that nature, you will see where I come in and I'll take a large, huge plant and I'll put that plant where it's not intended to grow it. And it absolutely works because we are constricting the root ball. Therefore, it's not going to get as large at the top. Now, I will say that when you grow your grapes in containers, instead of you focusing on a large amount of grapes, like I want 50 grapes, just focus on a small cluster, kind of like you prune back your peach and nectarine trees, the same concept here. So I did want to show you all what it's looking like, but when I seen the opportunity to get those 2 books back, there's one more book from Bob Flowerdew that I'm still looking for. When I find it, I'll definitely share it with you all. Have you all ever heard of Bob Flowerdew? He is a absolute gem in the garden industry. Bob Flowerdew, I'll make sure to link the books that I just purchased down in the description box so you can check them out. One of the things to keep in mind, if you're going to be growing grapes and you have dogs, it is a no-no growing my grapes inside of containers, because that way I could mobilize them and I wouldn't have to take the chance of my pups getting into an area where they're not supposed to be, and then now all of a sudden my pup is basically, you know. We're going to leave that one alone. But what I'll do is once they come into season, then I'll move this out to another area, or we just completely restrict the pups from coming over here on this side. Hence the reason why you see we have this area blocked off from the pups. So I absolutely love this concept. Drop down in the comment box and let me know, is grapes in containers something that you want to try in your garden? And it works especially if you have a small garden, because when I tell you, you can literally have multiple containers of grapes growing up on different structures, and it absolutely 100% works. Also, another thing is year to year, I do like to change my trellising system. Sometimes I'll come in with a different pole. Sometimes I will go ahead and put a temporary obelisk, one of my taller obelisks, and I'll let them grow up that structure. Sometimes I'll take some bamboo canes, TP them together, and then once it is time for me to bring it in and I do that chop, then I'll go ahead and remove the structure here. So that's another thing that I like to do, and it kind of makes it fun and it changes it up and it gives you a different scenery. I will get in close so you can see how it's growing, because it is putting on quite a large amount of growth. Here is our grape here. You can see where I made the cut. So it's almost like each year we come in and we do a rejuvenation cut, if you will. And here is some more of the maples here. You all, when we were shopping for maples, this is why I scare away from any type of maple that have these helicopters. It's a no for me. But it was an absolute beautiful tree, but that's why I didn't buy it. But anywho, this is what you'll get every year when you chop it back. So pretty soon here we are going to have to go in and make some type of trellising system for the grape to hold on to and grow up and have some stable support.